Community members expressed outrage over the decision, with some claiming there were race-driven motives since Smith was the first black city manager of Galesburg. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Still got those signals in Porter Ranch. Collector Lane still shut down. 118 westbound at Porter Ranch Drive, and traffic stops at Woodley Avenue now. Now we have a signal in Santa Ana, 5 southbound before 4th Street. Carpool and left lane are shut down. The 5 is a mess from the 22 and the 57. And watch out for a vehicle stalled in the Cuenca Pass. Middle lane, block 101 southbound at Barnum Boulevard. They're trying to move that to the shoulder, but it's a slow drive from Van Nuys Boulevard. Got a crash at Monrovia, 210 westbound at Myrtle Avenue. Carpool and left lane are blocked, and traffic crawling from the 57.
Kickstart your imagination with Audible. Hear celebrity and music memoirs, mysteries, true crime, and more. Audible is the home of storytelling, audiobooks, podcasts, and originals. Sign up for a free trial at audible.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers are celebrating Black Heritage Night tonight at Dodger Stadium. Community organizations in LA were able to buy group tickets at a discount price. Among the groups attending are members of the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. The ticket package includes a Mookie Betts Heritage jersey. Betts is one of 2 Black American players on the Dodgers roster, along with Jason Haywood. The Dodgers also have one of Major League Baseball's 2 Black managers in Dave Roberts. Former Dodger star Dusty Baker manages the Houston Astros. The Dodgers are playing the Chicago White Sox tonight. First pitch at 7:10. The TV audience for the NBA Finals on ABC was down 6.4% from last year. The 5 games featuring the Denver Nuggets and Miami Heat averaged 11.6 million on ABC. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is dedicated to empowering our communities by providing progressive talk radio for our audience. We strive to be an intersectional voice for the voiceless. As a Black-owned and operated station, we are committed to highlighting diverse perspectives and creating safe spaces for meaningful dialogue. We believe that everyone has something unique to bring to these political, economic, social, and cultural conversations, and we don't shy away from the hard conversations about current events. We endeavor to be a beacon of hope and understanding, while boldly challenging listeners to think more deeply about difficult topics that impact us all. With this in mind, our mission statement at KBLA Talk 1580 is simple: to create an inclusive platform that promotes civil discourse through honest dialogue and encourages personal growth among our listeners, so they can become the active agents of change. Our vision is to establish ourselves as the premier radio network with relevant programming across the beloved community, connecting people through shared experiences and collective power for lasting impact beyond these challenging times.
Live from Leimert Park, USA, I'm Tavis, Smiley, and you're listening to KBLA Talk 1580. So glad to see you and me back in stride again. Our phone number, 1-800-920-1580, 1-800-920-1580. All of our socials can be found at KBLA 1580. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Everything at KBLA 1580. Let me also invite you right now to download our app at KBLA 1580. Download the app and listen to us live anywhere in the world, but only if you download right now our app at KBLA 1580. Should you miss us any day in real time, check out the podcast of our program by going to the app, the website, Anchor, Spotify, Apple, so many places to get the podcast of this program and listen at your leisure. Should you miss us any day in real time, but I am delighted to have you along live with us today for the next 3 hours. You can also watch the live stream of this program by tapping on the KBLA TV icon on our app or by going to our YouTube channel. And let me also invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley and get Twitter updates at Tavis Smiley. A good show on tap for you today in our second hour.
There's an old man called the Mississippi. That's the old man that I'd like to be. What does he care if the world's got troubles? What does he care if the land ain't free? Old Man River, that old man River, he must know something, but don't say nothing. He just keeps rolling, he keeps on rolling along. He don't.
As we celebrate June as Black Music Month, a conversation about one of the most iconic figures in all of black music history, Paul Robeson. His voice resonated not only through his powerful singing, but also through his unwavering commitment to civil rights and social justice. Columbia professor Dr. Shauna L. Redmond has authored a text about Paul Robeson, and she joins us in hour 2 today for a conversation about the ultimate Renaissance man, Paul Robeson. In our third hour, a talk with Pulitzer Prize-winning editorial cartoonist Darren Bell about his new work called The Talk. The Talk, as you well know, is a dialogue born of necessity. It is a somber rite of passage in the black community aimed at preparing youth for the potential violence they may encounter solely based on the color of their skin. The story Darren Bell tells in his book, The Talk, is one that reverberates with love and concern. We'll get to it in hour 3. In this first hour today, though, 2 conversations on the B side of this hour.
Get out, man, I groove like that. I'm smooth like that. I jive like that. I roll like that.
Yeah, I'm thick like that. I stack like that. I'm down like that. I'm black like that.
The Grammy Award-winning hip-hop trio Diggable Planets is celebrating its 30th anniversary now, believe it or not, and they join us live on the backside of this hour. Pioneers of jazz, rap, and alternative hip-hop, they changed the game, and I look forward to our chat with the Diggable Planets on the backside of this hour. But let's commence today's show talking politics with our regular contributor, Ruben Navarrete Jr., in a moment. But first, this. As we all know by now, yesterday, LA City Councilman Curran Price was charged with 10 counts of embezzlement, perjury, and conflict of interest by LA DA George Gascon. And so, 10 counts, 10 critiques. Number 10, it is hard to know whether Nuri Martinez, Gil Cedillo, and Kevin De Leon and labor leader Ron Herrera were just spewing racial hatred and political envy on the now infamous audio tape, or whether they possess some kind of extraordinary political prescience. Have their wicked wishes come true? To be clear, this latest development raises some fundamental questions about the future of black political power in the city of Los Angeles. Number 9, it now appears that Kevin De Leon is actually going to serve out his full term, given that not enough signatures were collected for the recall, and he may run for re-election, all while the system seems to be targeting black electeds. Number 8, never mind the presumption of innocence, City Council President Paul Krikorian wasted no time yesterday calling for the suspension of Councilman Price. Did we learn nothing about a rush to judgment from the Mark Ridley Thomas matter? Why not allow Price to take a leave of absence? Here again, the city charter does not mandate that the council must suspend a member who wants to step aside and defend his or her good name. Now that Nuri Martinez is gone, let's hope that this new iteration of the city council exhibits more respectfulness, less ruthlessness. Number 7, I really hope the council, city controller, and city attorney, for that matter, aren't so tone-deaf this time around that they move to take away Councilman Price's salary, health care, and pension as they did with MRT. We all saw how that ended when MRT embarrassed the city and made them run him his coins. Number 6, it's hard to know whether this is really just a political takedown of Curran Price wrapped in a criminal complaint. Have you seen the racist vitriol aimed at Councilman Price in the June 27th runoff to fill Nuri Martinez's former council seat? I mean, you would think that Curran Price himself is on the ballot, the way Imelda Padilla, a former Nuri Martinez lieutenant, is targeting Price in her political mailers. It can only be described as a proxy war against Price, whose former aide, Marissa Alcaraz, is in the runoff with Padilla. It is as if Team Padilla is sending a not-so-coded message to Price that we have heard many times before. No Negroes allowed. Number 5, I'm sorry, the DA's narrative of 2 women and a suspected child abuse report is ugly stuff. Frankly, a bridge too far for me. When it comes to black men, they either wildly overcharge you, as they did with MRT, float a narrative so nasty that it's hard for the accused to ever get on the good foot, or both. Number 4, there is at least one other former member of the LA City Council who I suspect did not sleep very well last night. It's hard to know where this crisis in City Hall will track next, but as Hemingway said, never sin to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. Number 3, one size does not fit all. The media has to stop lumping all of these politicos together in their stories. It's irresponsible journalism. For example, in the case of MRT, no public monies were at issue. There were no allegations of embezzlement. There were no perjury charges. We no more all look alike than we can all be accused of committing the same crimes. Black lives matter. Blurred lines matter. Number 2, how does a black elected official stay under suspicion for 5 years, since 2018? Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, poof, the DA just lowers the boom. So, did it really take 5 years to build this case? Or is the timing politically expedient for somebody? And number 1, different day, same story. Presumption of innocence, fundamental fairness, and due process for Lottie, Dottie, and everybody, including Councilman Curran Price. When we come forward, our conversation with Ruben Navarrete Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about. Good thing we've got 3 hours. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
You know those cigarette butts that you see every day? They're made of microplastics and they line our streets and waterways. On California beaches, they're the #1 plastic you'll find. Over 35 years, cleanups have collected millions combined. But no matter where you see them, they're all getting smaller, eventually leaching into our food, our air, our water. The tobacco industry's to blame for all of the harm that they do. For the harm to the people we love, and the harm to you too. Learn more at undo.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Maisha Cairo here for KBLA Talk 1580. We're live in Los Angeles at JP Morgan Chase's Advancing Black Wealth Tour. And I'm speaking to some of the attendees today to see why it was so important for them to be here.
Yeah, this is Lathan and Tyler. Main reason that's very important for me to be here is just to leave a legacy for my kids. Black wealth, generational wealth is what we need in our community, you know. Oh, Chase, someone has to take the lead. They're showing, big business like Chase cares, and they're putting their money where their mouth is at. So it's good to see, big institution like Chase, giving a lifting hand, to the community. And, you got to respect that. It makes me want to bank with Chase and, give them, another look if I go to another institution. I actually see what Chase is doing for the community.
That's right. Chase is doing their part to help advance Black wealth. For more money support, tune in every day from 12 to 2 to KBLA Talk 1580's Midday Money Chain, right here.
Welcome back to the quickest podcast ever, brought to you by Kohl's.
Today's topic, Father's Day.
Yeah, I may have procrastinated a bit on getting my dad a gift.
Honestly, same, but Kohl's saved the day. I found great gifts my dad will use every day, like comfy Nike athleisure.
Oh, he's gonna love that.
But that's not even the best part. With the 15% off going on, I got him a stylish shirt for just $9.99 and saved extra on some grilling gear, too.
Okay, say no more. Kohl's, here I come.
Select styles. Offer ends June 18th. Nike coupons do not apply. See store or kohls.com for details.
It's our anniversary.
Every weekday during the month of June, we're giving away gear from the KBLA.store to say thank you for your support of KBLA Talk 1580 as we celebrate our second anniversary. Each weekday, a different host will be giving away fresh merch to one lucky caller. All you have to do is keep it locked to KBLA Talk 1580 throughout the day, and our host will tell you when to dial in and when. It's our way of showing appreciation to you for helping make KBLA Talk 1580 the most trusted, credible, and reliable source of information for listeners just like you. Here's hoping you'll be one of our lucky winners. But you can always head over to the KBLA.store anytime for the best in KBLA Talk 1580 gear for yourself and great gift ideas. Now, celebrating 2 years of being your go-to, we're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
At the United States Postal Service, we're reinventing our network to help keep your business moving. With new shipping options to deliver better value, greater flexibility to conveniently reach your customers, more confident shipping with new informed delivery features, and new electric vehicles for a cleaner, brighter future. Fast, reliable, perfectly orchestrated. The United States Postal Service, delivering for America. Learn more at USPS.com/moving forward.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, we're Tasha,
Kill,
and Euro from KBLA's Lyric Lounge.
Check us out every Saturday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. and every Sunday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Tune in as we break down some of your favorite song lyrics from all genres of music.
From gospel to pop and hip-hop to rock and everything else in between, we cover it all.
So come hang out in the Lyric Lounge with Tasha,
Teal,
and Euro every Saturday afternoon at 4 p.m. and every Sunday at 6 p.m.
Let the music play.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. Let's unpack a little bit more with Tavis Smiley. The conversation continues right now.
The start, babe. There's much more to love than the way you're thinking of. To wear my ring was something special. Now you close the door, the ring thrown on the floor. But if it's alright with you, I won't take a second chance. I don't have to take it, and you don't have to fake it anymore. Easy, meeny, miny, moe. Catch a lover by the toe.
I'm Tavis Smiley. That's J.O., Jeffrey Osborne. As you well know, June is Black Music Month, and every day during the month of June, we are fortunate to have a featured artist in residence, we call it, whose music we play all 3 hours of our program. And so today, you're going to hear the best of Jeffrey Osborne. All 3 hours of our program today, again, as we celebrate the iconic artistry of black folk in the month of June, Black Music Month. So Jeffrey Osborne, all 3 hours today of our program, except for on the backside of this hour, we'll be joined live by Diggable Planet, celebrating their 30th anniversary. Outside of that, you're going to hear J.O. all 3 hours of our show today. I'm pleased now to bring back on the microphone our regular contributor, the most widely read Latino columnist in the nation, courtesy of his Washington Post syndicate piece, and the host of the very popular podcast, Ruben in the Center, Ruben Navarrete Jr. Ruben, how are you, sir?
Good, brother. So appreciative to you for the Jeffrey Osborne reference. That's some great stuff.
Yeah,
taking me back as a child of the 80s and 90s. Great stuff.
No, J.O.'s got some good stuff, man. We're going to play a lot of it over the next 3 hours. I've got a little time left with you. We had to address that current price issue. Here we go again, as it were. So I had to offer some thoughts about that. But I wanted to rush to get to you before I get to Diggable Planets, that is, because you and I talk politics all the time around here. But today there's really only one political story outside of the current price matter here locally to talk about, and it is the story of Donald Trump. I don't need to color this first question too much. Take it away, Ruben. Your thoughts about what we saw, what we witnessed historically yesterday.
You know, I think a lot of producers and media folks in LA have been trying to position from one story to another. I'll draw a bridge, build a bridge between the Curran Price story and the Donald Trump story.
Okay.
And that is that Councilman Curran Price is innocent until proven guilty. He can literally sit at the table and cross his arms, and his attorney can do the same. The prosecutor has to have all the work. They have to prove him guilty. It's not up to Price to prove his innocence. The same exact thing applies to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is today innocent. He is not guilty until proven guilty by the prosecutors. And I find distressing, and this isn't just about you, but it's about the whole country, Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, you name it. We've all switched roles. We've all switched hats, and we're all now singing a different song than we used to sing. And I guess when you boil it down, how we feel about the presumption of innocence and due process and fairness really has everything to do, 100% to do with who the defendant is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've now been listening, and let's just pick on our friends, the Republicans, for a second. You'll get the point. I have been listening to a lot of white male Republicans who 2 seconds ago were talking about law and order, the rule of law, you know, we have to protect our laws and justice system, and who for the last 40 years, when the defendant at the defendant's table is a young black man or a young brown man, have talked about throwing the book at that person with 3 strikes laws and really cracking down on them and mandatory sentencing. And thank you, President Joe Biden, for playing a role in that in the racist 1995 crime bill that led to mass incarceration. And in that scenario, the white male Republicans always talked about sort of the need to push people through trial. They didn't take very seriously things like due process. And you had folks on the left who would go over to the ACLU and say, no, that's absolutely important that we have due process. Now the roles are reversed. It's as if in the last 8 days that we've been talking about this indictment, you have a rush of white male Republicans going out to join the ACLU. Because all of a sudden they're saying things that I have not heard and you have not heard from them for 40 years about the importance of the presumption of innocence, about the rights of the defendant. Because why? Because the defendant is a rich white billionaire Republican and a former president. Everybody can see that. To be able to see the whole picture. And I have never seen such a shift as I have on the left, where now the folks who used to believe in the ACLU and the presumption of innocence are saying, lock him up, hang him high. It's crazy time.
No, it's a powerful frame. My friend Connie Rice, you know Connie Rice always says, get your frame right. And what you're suggesting might not sit well with some of our listeners who want to see him locked up. But I take your point, and that's what I was saying a moment ago. That if this is ever going to be a true democracy and not just an experiment in democracy, it's got to be presumption of innocence, fundamental fairness, and due process for Lottie, Dottie, and everybody. And sadly, everybody. And truthfully, that includes, to your point, Donald Trump. I can't back away from that. Here's what I will press you on, though. The reason why people feel the way they feel, specifically about Donald Trump, is because this country has a history of allowing, to your point, white males to get away with this nonsense. And we live in a country where there seem to be 2 set of rules. One set of rules for us, as you mentioned brilliantly a moment ago, and another set of rules for them being rich, powerful white men. So I'm not so sure that anybody wants to jump ahead of the process and not let it run its due course, so to speak. But the deck is always stacked against us, and it's always in favor of them. For example, look at the judge that Trump now has. And we're all concerned about the ways in which this trial judge may do as she's already done heretofore and give him a pass at every turn, including slowing this thing down so that it doesn't happen before Election Day. And the fact that it took this long, to go after Donald Trump is also part of the story. So here again, I don't mean to be long-winded. I don't think anybody's trying to jump ahead of the process. I hear your point that many of us have changed positions. I just think that people of color specifically are sick and tired, like Fannie Lou Hamer, sick and tired of being sick and tired of watching white, rich, powerful men get away with stuff that Jamal and Letitia couldn't get away with. Ruben, does that make sense?
Yes, it does. You know, the writer Richard Rodriguez, a great essayist and author, is a longtime friend and mentor of mine, and he did a commentary not long ago I saw that said that Americans love to talk about race. We will endlessly talk about race on both sides. But the thing we don't talk about is class. We don't talk about money, right? We don't talk about wealth. And to your point, you started off saying that if you're a white male, rich white male, you've got a much better chance in the justice system than a young, poor African-American or Latino male.
Right.
I think that's absolutely true. But I also think that most of that has to do with money. And you and I were on the air in 1994, 95. We saw the beginnings of the O.J. Simpson trial. You and I were literally on the air during the Bronco chase, okay, in terms of the timeline there.
Sure.
And we saw what happens if you're an African-American male with resources and you can go hire the dream team like O.J., you're going to beat the rap, which is what happened. So I will say this. I think our justice system is unfairly biased toward rich people of all colors, of all colors. And it's about money. The power, the color green, more than anything else, will get you an acquittal.
I do believe it's true that our system is predicated upon this notion that the more money you have, the more justice you can buy. And if you happen to be black and wealthy, you got a better shot at it. But it's Johnny Cochran. Since you mentioned OJ, I'll go Johnny Cochran. Johnny Cochran was right when he said that race is a part of everything in this country. And I don't think that one can so easily separate race from class, although I think Rodriguez is right that we spend so much time talking about one that we don't talk about the other. But I still think they're inextricably linked in this country, and I'll leave that where it is. At the end of the day, the question is whether or not Donald Trump can get a fair trial. What say you about that?
I don't think he can in either direction, brother. I think you're going to have people on that trial, on that jury, who are pro-Trump, who are basically going to give him a pass because they're pro-Trump. But I have other folks on that jury who are anti-Trump, and they're going to be dead set to convict him no matter what. The chances are great that you can get a hung jury because it only takes one juror to hold out to hang the jury. And we are so polarized on the issue of Donald Trump, it's impossible to find somebody short of putting a robot on in the jury box, find somebody who does not love or hate this man.
Yeah.
And so I think that's going to be, I think that the bias question goes in both directions.
Yeah.
It's people who love him and hate him. Nobody's going to be listening to the evidence. They're already ready. The minute they've been seated, they're ready to go to decision.
Yep. I'll close by going back to your point of connecting Curran Price and Donald Trump in this regard. One of the major distinctions for me is that we will see in the coming days what the DA has on Curran Price. We will see. I don't like this idea of some suspected child abuse allegation that we have no idea what they're talking about. But putting that out there like that ain't cute. I don't like it about anybody, but especially a black man. That said, though, Donald Trump has done so much stuff in front of our eyes, Ruben. I mean, we have seen this guy. We've watched him break the law. This ain't like Curran Price. We will wait and see. With Donald Trump, we have seen for 4 years the rule of law being demonized and bastardized and trampled on with our very eyes every day. And I think that makes this a little bit different as well. Your thoughts, finally?
To the point you make, in terms of just the documents, you're right. Because the media has done the job the prosecutors have been doing perhaps in private, but the media has been doing publicly. If you paid attention to the story for the last year, you've seen video of Trump handling documents. You've seen damning testimony or heard testimony from people who work at Mar-a-Lago. And it becomes pretty clear that he knew he couldn't classify these documents, that he knew he had them, and he was trying to, in the words of former Attorney General William Barr, a Republican and Trump appointee, Barr said that Trump was jerking around the DOJ.
Yep.
So you're right. If you have just been paying attention to the news for the last year or so,
that's right.
You have a sense of his guilt. But that's not what matters in a court of law. And as you said before, we've got to be consistent here. We can't be like those hypocritical Republicans who all of a sudden are saying let's join the ACLU. We got to have due process when they never said that during the 80s with black and brown folks.
I take your point. Presumption of innocence, fundamental fairness, due process for Lottie, Dottie, and everybody. That includes Karen Price and Donald Trump. But that said, Donald Trump is guilty, and we all know it. I digress from that. Ruben Navarrete Jr., good to have you on. We'll talk soon, my friend. All the best to you.
All right, brother. Take care. Bye-bye.
Diggable Planets after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
Be sure to like and follow Tavis Smiley at The Real Tavis Smiley and get Twitter updates at Tavis Smiley. The conversation continues when we come forward.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Moore. Now, here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Severe weather could impact millions of Americans across the South. Forecasters are predicting drenching thunderstorms through Thursday from Texas to South Carolina. A heat advisory is also in effect for southern Texas, where the feels-like temperature, factoring in humidity, could soar to over 110 degrees in some areas. In Illinois, the city of Galesburg is parting ways with city manager Gerald Smith. The city council voted on a separation agreement with Smith on Monday. He only had served as city manager since November. Community members expressed outrage over the decision, with some claiming there were race-driven motives since Smith was the first black city manager of Galesburg. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Still got those signaled in Porter Ranch. Collector Lane still shut down. 118 westbound at Porter Ranch Drive, and traffic stops at Woodley Avenue now. Now we have a signaled in Santa Ana, 5 southbound before 4th Street. Carpool and left lane are shut down. The 5 is a mess from the 22 and the 57. And watch out for vehicles sold in the Cuenca Pass. Middle lane, block 101 southbound at Barham Boulevard. They're trying to move that to the shoulder, but it's a slow drive from Van Nuys Boulevard. Got a crash at Monrovia, 210 westbound at Myrtle Avenue. Carpool and left lane are blocked, and traffic crawling from the 57.
Kickstart your imagination with Audible. Hear celebrity and music memoirs, mysteries, true crime, and more. Audible is the home of storytelling, audiobooks, podcasts, and originals. Sign up for a free trial at audible.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers are celebrating Black Heritage Night tonight at Dodger Stadium. Community organizations in LA were able to buy group tickets at a discount price. Among the groups attending are members of the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. The ticket package includes a Mookie Betts Heritage jersey. Betts is one of 2 Black American players on the Dodgers roster, along with Jason Hayward. The Dodgers also have one of Major League Baseball's 2 Black managers in Dave Roberts. Former Dodger star Dusty Baker manages the Houston Astros. The Dodgers are playing the Chicago White Sox tonight. First pitch at 7:10. The TV audience for the NBA Finals on ABC was down 6.4% from last year. The 5 games featuring the Denver Nuggets and Miami Heat averaged 11.6 million on ABC. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 noon for conversations that matter. Every day I talk to influencers, content creators, trendsetters, change makers, and world beaters who are doing their part to make America a nation that will one day be as good as its promise. So be sure to join me, Tavis Smiley, weekdays 9 a.m. to 12 noon as we curate smart conversations for smart people just like you.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Everybody now, make some noise!
Is there a better day of the year to celebrate the anniversary of the only unapologetically progressive talk station west of the Mississippi, focused on issues that impact the black community?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
We think not. A station that amplifies black voices like yours with hosts and guests who look and sound like you. Celebrating our 2nd anniversary on Juneteenth. We're KBLA Talk 1580. And you ain't seen nothing yet. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetic unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Have you faced discrimination in Los Angeles? The City of LA Civil Rights Department can help. They investigate private sector discrimination in LA City in commerce, education, employment, and housing. If you're facing discrimination, submit a complaint online for free at laisforeveryone.com. That's laisforeveryone.com or call 213-978-1845.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin Ultra Strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Yeah, roll it, yeah, drop it. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl. Yeah, it's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
Float straight out of our lids. Them, they got booed by these hard rock Brooklyn kids. Us floor rush when they DJ booming classics. You dig the crew on the fattest hip hop record. He tucks the kinks and sinks into the sounds. She frequents deep, fatter joints called undergrounds. Our funk zooms like you hit the Mary Jane. They flock to booms, man, boogie had to change. Who freaks the clips with mad amount percussion? Where kinky hair goes to unthought of dimensions. Why is it so fly? Cause hip hop kept some drama. When Butterfly rocked the light blue suede pumas. What by the cut? We push it off the corner. How was the buzz entire hip hop era? Was fresh in fact since they started saying Audi. Cause funk's made fat from right beneath my hood. The pooba of the styles like 60s funky worms with waves and perms. Just sending junky rhythms right down your block. We beat to rap, what key beat to lock. But I'm cool like that. I'm cool like that. I'm cool like that. I'm cool like that.
I'm Tavis Smiley.
I'm cool like that.
You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580, and we're glad about it. Our phone number, 1-800-920-1580, 1-800-920-1580. Can you believe it? We celebrate the 30th anniversary of Diggable Planets. I can't believe 3 decades, pioneers of jazz, rap, and alternative hip-hop. They have redefined the possibilities of jazz-informed and infused hip-hop. This year, of course, we also celebrate the 50th anniversary of hip-hop, a cultural movement that has revolutionized music and paved the way for artists like Diggable Planets to thrive. And I am pleased to welcome 2 members of the group. Doodlebug, Craig Irving, is with us. How are you, sir?
Good. How you doing, bro?
Man, if I complained, I'd be an ingrate. I'm glad to be on and with you in this half hour. And Ladybug Mecca, Marianne Vieira. Marianne, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
Man, I'm wonderful. I'm just delighted to be in dialogue with you all for these few moments here. Let me just start with this. I'll start with you, Doodlebug. What say you about the impact of Diggable Planets on the genre? As I mentioned, we're celebrating now a half century of hip hop. The music, of course, is hegemonic around the world, but it's hard to, on my soundtrack at least, and on the soundtrack of many others, to talk about hip hop 50 years later, 50 years in, I should put it that way, and not talk about Diggable Planets. So, from your perspective, set your modesty aside. What do you think Diggable Planets brought to the hip hop table, as it were?
I think we brought our own perspective of how we saw hip-hop based on the things that shaped our beliefs and things that inspired us. Like before us, I mean, it's all cyclical. Before us, there was people like Tribe Called Quest, Stetsasonic, you know what I'm saying? And just, you know what I'm saying, that then you had your parents who played all types of music in the household, from R&B, Bessie Smith, to John Coltrane, Pharoah Sanders, you know what I'm saying, all Earth, Wind, and Fire, all that was playing in the house, you know what I'm saying. So those influences, as well as the streets, influenced us, and we brought our perspective of that culture to the table. And then from there, we hopefully what we did inspired future generations to continue to take that that we did, that template that we put together, and add to it with their own fly perspective. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we did, and I'm hoping that's what we inspired to do.
Yep. Ladybug, same question to you. What do you think Diggable Planets brought to the table?
Well, let's see. I'll try to follow that because I agree. I think, just also having a male-female dynamic. We weren't the first to do it, but we, continued it as well. And just the balance and the healthy competition, to push each other with our rhymes and how to get our point of view across lyrically. And just the camaraderie, the individuality. We continued the legacy of bringing unique music forward, incorporating jazz, funk, soul. Yeah.
I guess the question that I have, and I suspect many others have as well, which is, I'll go to you first, Doodlebug. How do you revolutionize the rap game with 2 albums? I mean, that's the thing. That it's one thing if you put out 20 albums and you were called iconic, but how do you revolutionize an entire genre with 2 projects?
I don't know. I think it was. I don't think we actually revolutionized it, but we definitely had an impact based on our originality, the way we decided to come at the angle we decided to come at the music with. You know what I'm saying? And we had a theme, and we just totally, immersed ourselves in that culture. It wasn't just one song; it was like a whole movement that we created a style. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know if we revolutionized it or anything. I think, we just did what we saw before and just added to it. Added to the cycle. You know what I mean? With
your powerful burst onto the scene, Ladybug, and the impact your music had, and the millions of fans that you racked up pretty immediately when that first project dropped. Why just, when you look back on 30 years of your being in the game, why just 2 albums?
A lot was happening at that time. The label that we were on, they ended up folding. We were growing. We were very young when we started doing this. We were growing and exploring new things, professionally and personally. I think it was just like a mix of a bunch of different things that kind of came together. But we're very proud of that work and the magic that we created when we were all together. It's not lost on us how special it is.
Over the years, to your point, Ladybug, over the years as you've had now 3 decades to process this, what do you make of that? When you say it's never lost on you or the group, how special that moment was. When you look back on that moment, when you were riding high on the charts and everybody was digging your stuff, again, 2 albums notwithstanding, from this vantage point, looking back on your impact and that special moment, how do you process that you were there and that you put it down, to use your words, so magically?
I look at everything like a blessing. We were in such a special place as we were created. It was a special time in hip hop, a special time in expression. We don't go into the studio with the aim of making a hit record. We go in there making something that we feel and we love and that we're proud of. And in turn, how blessed we were to have it resonate with so many people. It's mind blowing still to this day. And the beauty of it is we still get to tour the world, and we get to have this beautiful energy exchange with younger fans now that are coming to our shows, that have found our music through digging online or been introduced to it by their parents or their older siblings, and it's just really a joy.
No, you got the right word. It seems to me it's a joy, it's a blessing, and you couldn't put it any better than that. We are celebrating 30 years, believe it or not. I'm getting old. 30 years of Diggable Planets, and they're on KBLA Talk 1580 right now.
Run your coat like Jupiter keeps a fat beats by the pack where I'm from. Nappy hair is life. We be reading Marks where I'm from. The kids be rocking Clarks where I'm from. You turn around your cap, you talk over a beat, and dig some sounds booming out of Jeep where I'm from. Cocoon tied to you, swing units 100 proof. You want some beef? They will cut you somewhere I'm from.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
The pandemic may be over, but many Angelinos could be at risk of losing the place they call home. It's important to know your rights as a residential renter in the city of LA. Did you know eviction protection still exists for unpaid COVID-19 rental debt that was due before March 31st, 2023? And that you have 5 days to respond to an eviction notice, also known as an unlawful detainer. Learn more about your rental rights at housing.lacity.org. Be informed, be protected, be at home.
I switched to Boost Mobile and got a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Want to know the best part?
It was free?
Nope.
The fact that it's on America's largest 5G networks?
Nope. It's the ding.
Oh yeah, love the ding.
Right? It's all about the ding. It's the dingarooski, the dingarone, the ring-a-ding-ding.
Unleash your power to save with Boost. Get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone when you switch. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power.
And the ding.
Limited time offer. New customers only. Available on select networks. 5G not available everywhere. One device per line. Tax excluded. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
If you're a business owner or lead a nonprofit that has between 26 and 49 employees and you paid COVID sick leave in 2021 or 22, you may qualify for reimbursement through a state grant program administered by the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. Learn more at covidpaidsick.com.
Sunday, June 18th, come out to Africa Town in Leimert Park for the Juneteenth Independence Revolution commemoration. The Independence Revolution will be part of a 3-day weekend to celebrate Juneteenth. Join in the national hashtag Wave of Freedom, where Black people across the country will stand in solidarity to demand reparations for Black American descendants of slavery. Hear from the frontline organizations who are fighting for better conditions for Black LA. Bring your dad to be part of the Honor Thy Fathers ceremony, which will acknowledge dozens of Black fathers in the community. See performances from some of LA's top local artists. Shop with a variety of local Black merchants selling food, clothes, art, and more. The Juneteenth Independence Revolution is a free event for the entire family. Sunday, June 18th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., come to Africa Town in Leimert Park to celebrate Black Independence Day. The Juneteenth Independence Revolution is brought to you by Africa Town Enterprise, the African Village Vendors Association at Leimert Park, Black Lives Matter LA, Downtown Crenshaw, and Destination Crenshaw.
Conversations that matter. You're listening to Tavis Smiley on KBLA Talk 1580.
The bloom, the swoon, the sugars on your block. The planets letting flesh in the corners of New York. The ghetto, the meadow, the Mr. Butterflu. The honey bugs dug and licked the honeydew.
I'm Tavis Smiley. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580. We are celebrating 30 years, believe it or not, of the Grammy Award-winning hip-hop trio, Diggable Planets, who appeared this weekend at the Hollywood Bowl Jazz Festival. What a great lineup. I ain't gonna lie. The festival got to a point where I was turned off by the by the rundown. But this year it's fire. Of course, this year the rundown is curated by Herbie Hancock and Kamasi Washington, who was on this program a few days ago. Kamasi was. So you put Herbie and Kamasi together, you get a great rundown. And they have picked all the right acts to appear this weekend at the Hollywood Bowl Jazz Festival, and Diggable Planets is one of those groups. It's going to be a great weekend at the Bowl if you are fortunate enough to have tickets this weekend. I'm pleased to be joined by two members of Diggable Planets, Doodlebug and Ladybug Mecca. Doodlebug, let me ask you, I'm going to split this up. Let me ask you to talk about the music, and I'll ask Ladybug to talk about the lyrics. The music is so much a part of what made your stuff resonate. As I said earlier, you guys are pioneers of jazz rap. Just talk to me briefly about the way you all did the music, the way you approached the music, the sound.
Yeah, the music was produced by Ishmael, you know what I'm saying, Butterfly Butler. You know, we added our we added our 2 cents in there, you know what I'm saying? But the music, generally speaking, was just symbolized who we were as at that time, in that moment in time. You know what I'm saying? It was what we was listening to, what we were about. It was our way of life at the time. You know what I'm saying? Based on things that we were taught from our parents and our peers. You know what I'm saying? I mean, being around Ishmael and Ladybug, they taught me a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Especially, you know, Ladybug coming from a Brazilian background, learning things about Astro Gilberto, R.I.P. to her. You know what I'm saying? And so many different sounds, bossa nova, and all that type of sounds. And then you got my brother Ishmael, who his father, Reggie Butler, rest in peace, gave him a great foundation in music. And he taught me a lot of things about different jazz artists that I never knew about. You know what I'm saying? I was into a lot of different soul music and different philosophies of life, you know what I'm saying, that we all share with each other. And at the time, it just was just a natural mixture of just philosophies, thoughts, having fun, trying to learn who we are and our place in this world. And it translated into that music that we did at the time, you know what I'm saying?
Speaking of Ishmael Butler, better known as Butterfly, I just asked this question of Doodlebug a moment ago to talk about the music. We'll get to the lyrics in a moment. But talk to me about the unique ways that you all created this sound that we had not heard before, this sort of jazz rap, jazz-infused, jazz-informed hip-hop. You did it in a way that nobody had done it prior to. You've inspired many others since then. But talk to me, Butterfly, about the music.
Well, I mean, you know, I would only take one issue with that, as I think, you know, there were people that came before us that inspired us to kind of fall into that lane. At that time, we weren't necessarily looking at it like we're going to make this jazz rap fusion, this hybrid, and pioneer it. It was more like we were just kind of trying to be expressive and emulate a lot of the DJs and the producers that had come before us, just like DJ Premier with Gangstar was a big influence. Prince Paul with De La Soul and Q-Tip and them with a Tribe Called Quest and a lot of the native tongues was very instrumental and influential in my sound and my outlook on production and stuff like that with the sampling. So, and then like C was saying about my father and mother, it's particularly my father being a jazz head from Philly. I was really raiding his record collection to look for samples and to scour the stuff for break beats and cool horn parts and stuff like that. So it was really the influence of the production and the culture that we were seeing and growing up with and coming into our own understanding with the access to the library that my father had accumulated over the years.
Yep. Ladybug, let's talk about the lyrics now. I'm watching my timer. We got about 5 minutes left here. But I want to talk about the lyrics because we started with, obviously, one of your more famous and well-known and beloved pieces. But when you think about Diggable Planets, there are just a few lines that just pop into your head. And so your lyrics have stuck 30 years later. What do you make of that?
You know, I would attribute that to, you know, we created like our own kind of language and our own world through our lyrics, describing what life was like, how we were living in the community, being, you know, proud of who we are, where we come from. And so we just captured like what daily life was like, the beauty, the sound, the feel, the taste, you know, the smell, and just used that with the music and created our own world.
Yeah. Doodlebug kind of mentioned this a moment ago, Ladybug. So talk to me about the ways in which your background, where you were raised and how you were raised, has influenced your musical taste, your musical style as a part of Diggable Planets.
You're asking me?
Yes.
Okay. I was born in Maryland, close to D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I'm of Brazilian heritage. Both my parents are from Brazil. I was born in Maryland. And, you know, the music that I was raised on was Brazilian music, bossa nova, samba, Brazilian jazz, also heavily influenced by the go-go sound.
Mm-hmm.
Of D.C. that is specific to that region.
Sure.
Hip hop as well as I got older, and also, you know, I used to listen to the radio as a young girl and just go from one end of the dial to the other, just stopping where I heard things that resonated with me. So a lot of different things influenced my sound and lyrics and cadence. You know, Portuguese being my first language has a strong influence on the spacing of, you know, my cadence and flow, which I know is unique to me.
Yeah. Butterfly, what do you think? What do you hope the influence of Diggable Planets has been on other groups over the last 3 decades?
I just hope that, like, the influence of the people that we really dug had on us, you know, to, like, explore some of the topics that they might not have known about, that we dug into in the lyrics, and to really feel the energy and the passion that we have for the culture and the genre and the ability and the opportunity really to express ourselves. So if some of that could be translated to the people, that would be optimal for me.
Yep. And what's it like touring 30 years after your hits, Butterfly?
It's a blessing, man. It's kind of surreal, you know. It's like before every show, I think, like, man, is anybody going to come? How many people going to be out there? How they going to know the songs? But it's like, it's cool, man. A lot of younger people will tell us, yeah, our father or our mother put us onto this. And the fact that they like it and are interested in it, it's amazing, man. It's kind of like winning the lottery. You know what I mean?
Doodlebug, can you describe what it feels like when you're on stage, as you will be this weekend at the Hollywood Bowl Jazz Festival, when you look out on a sea of people, thousands of people, and they're all singing with you? I'm cool like that. I'm cool like that. I'm cool like that.
Man,
cool. Like, what's that feel like, man?
And it's hard. I mean, for everybody has their own, translates it in their own way. But for me, it's life sustaining. You know what I'm saying? No matter what you've been through that day or whatever, you get on stage and it reminds you that, damn, there was something that you did in life that was so important that all these people decided they wanted to spend their hard-earned money, come out and see you rock them songs live. You know what I'm saying? It's very powerful. It feels, like I said, it's life sustaining, man. You know what I'm saying? It feels great. I mean, I love it. I live off of it. I live for it. You know what I'm saying? It fuels my inspiration. It fuels a lot of the music and how I think about the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I can only use the words that we used earlier in this conversation. It's a joy, it's a blessing, and it will be a joy for a lot of people this weekend. Those who are fortunate to have tickets to get inside the Hollywood Bowl this weekend, Father's Day weekend, for the Hollywood Bowl Jazz Festival. As I said earlier, it's a great lineup. We had Kamasi Washington here a few days ago. We had a great time talking with Kamasi, and of course Herbie's been here a number of times. Interviewed Herbie many times over the course of my career and his. But when you put Herbie Hancock and Kamasi Washington in a room together and say curate a jazz festival, you know you're going to get something rich and beautiful. And so the lineup this weekend is pretty amazing, and it includes the Grammy Award-winning hip-hop trio Diggable Planets on stage this weekend at the Hollywood Bowl Jazz Festival. Butterfly, Doodlebug, Ladybug, Mecca, good to have you all on. Have a great show this weekend, and thank you for your music on the soundtrack of our lives. We love you and we appreciate you.
Thank you, Tavis.
I love you, man. You're the man.
Thank you for that. I appreciate you. See you this weekend. When we come forward after news, traffic, and sports, hour 2 of Tavis Smiley. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Glad you're sharing a part of your Wednesday with us here on the Black Information Network. I'm Mike Moore. Now, here's the latest. The top Senate Democrat is slamming a tax cut proposal moving through the Republican-led House. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said Republicans are pushing for tax giveaways for the wealthy and corporations while leaving ordinary Americans out to dry. He claimed the new proposal would increase the U.S. deficit by $1 trillion. Now to Maryland, where African-American Governor Wes Moore is calling on the state's congressional delegation to continue to apply pressure to make sure efforts to bring the new FBI headquarters to Maryland remain fair. The Baltimore Sun reports the governor outlined his federal priorities in a memo to House and Senate members.
They're shut down. The 5 is a mess from the 22 and the 57. And watch out for a vehicle sold in the Cuenca Pass, Middle Lane, Block 101, South End at Barnum Boulevard. They're trying to move that to